Okay, so I finished up listening to the book Start With Why because I listened to it a long time ago and I just had the last chapter left. And he talked about this Olympian, well, not this Olympian, this guy that had cerebral palsy that was running. Do you remember this story?
Yeah.
He was running a race, and the only difference between, he took forever to run it or whatever, but the only difference between him and the other people was the other people were competing with each other, so nobody helped them. But when they were done with their race, they would all go run with him and help him finish. And it was because he wasn't competing against anybody else, but he was competing against himself.
Yeah.
So I really like that, and just the whole concept of being better than we were and finding our own why that helps us to do that. Because if we go into it competing with other people, then we don't have that same energy and that same drive. So we have to not lose our focus and our passion when we think about our why. So we talk about our why a lot, and it's sometimes for me, it was ever evolving, and I had to really sit and think about what I wanted and what I was willing to do, and how I was willing to what I wanted out of this business. Why did you become a coach? Why did I sign up to be a coach? Well, initially for me, I had just gotten divorced. Well, I had just, way back when, if I go back to the very beginning, I signed up under Brigida as a discount coach, and I bought Turbo Fire and a challenge pack with Shakeology. And my ex-husband had just moved out. I just had my baby. And I started doing the workouts at home. I couldn't go to the gym. I couldn't get up and run in the mornings with my friends like I used to. And so that was the start of it, where I figured out that I could still do something for myself, even though I felt like I was on house arrest. I had just had a baby. I had just become a single mom. And it was okay, I can do this. I can feel good. I can have control over how I feel, because I felt like so much around me was out of my control that it was empowering to realize that I did have the control over how I felt. So a lot of times we feel like we lose motivation, and we lose why we're doing this, but we don't really lose our motivation, and we lose our why. That's still there within us, but we lose our focus. And that's where personal development comes in, and that's where consistency comes in, because we have to continually be doing our part, continually be doing those small, simple, daily tasks that add up to big things. So in the leadership group that they've been doing those videos this week, one of Summer posted her video, and she talked about time management, and she is so freaking passionate, and it's inspiring to listen to her. She gets sweaty and just so riled up, but I love her. But she just says that you have to act according to your goals. And she talked about making your 5 priorities. And she says that if you have problems with your spouse being supportive, then your spouse needs to be number 1. And don't make him feel like you're cheating on him with Beachbody or whatever, So I really liked that, because they need to be number 1. Beachbody, number 1. Spouse, significant other, whatever, kids, God, or whatever, and then Beachbody. And then you have room for 1 more. So anyway, and those can be however you want them to be mapped out. They don't have to be that. But I think for me, that's that's my order, and that's how I need to kind of engineer my priorities. So if you have a spouse or a boyfriend or whatever, or somebody that needs to feel important, then you figure out those things that will make them feel important, and you do those things. your kids, what are the most important things you need to do for your kids to make them feel most important? And put those things down, write those things down. What are those things? You need to make sure you're present right after school. That's one thing that I've been working on, put my phone away right after school. I talk to my kids, like those important times during the day, dinner time, those things. Then I have other times that they do their thing, I do my thing, so I can get things done. But if we just make sure that we're intentional about how we allot our time, then those priorities get the attention that they need. My miracle morning where I do my prayers and my meditation, that's been huge for me. And when I don't do it, I miss it and I can tell a difference. So I mean, that's something that I thrive on. And then Beachbody, just doing, like setting that same time away, not saying, okay, well, I'll get to it when I get to it. I'll maybe invite people if I have time later today. So that never happens. It has to be in a lot of time where you have a list, you work from a list and you check things off. So that's hard for me, like to be self-motivated. And that's something that's definitely a learned behavior, to self-discipline yourself. But that's kind of the amazing, cool part about this business, is that you have to learn those skills. It's the hard part about this business, but it's the awesome part about this business, because you have the control, you have the power to change your actions, you have the power to make it work, to make your priorities, to do the work, and to control how you feel about it. And you have the control. That's also the hard part about it, because you have the control and you also have the ability to say, oh, I'll do it later. So it's the hard part and the amazing part all in one, but goes back to, we're only in competition with ourselves. So we just need to be a better coach than we were yesterday. We just need to do a little bit more than we did yesterday. Just be a little bit more consistent, be a little more, intentional with our time, and make a list. And that's all we have to do, is just be better than we were yesterday, not go looking at other coaches or other fitness people and compare ourselves with that. We have to kind of put these blinders on, and it's really hard when we're posting on social media and we see all these things. But if you have your list written out and your things that you want to do, your goals that are in coordination with your priorities, then before you even open your computer, open your phone, look at social media, if you have all that laid out and you go to work intentionally, then you're not going to get distracted and lose your focus. So some of you new coaches that might be watching this are going, okay, well, you're talking about working and, inviting and doing, setting time for Beachbody and doing this. So that's I was going to talk about the vital behaviors, because I know some of you are pretty new, and the vital behaviors for this business are 4 things that are vital to growing a business. The first one is to be product of the product. You need to be doing a program. You need to be using the products, drinking Shakeology, and talking about it and sharing why you love it and having your own transformation and diving into that. That's something that has to be continual and just something that you talk about. And it doesn't have to be in your face, oh, I love this Shakeology, but really think about why you like it and how you want to share it with people. And don't be afraid of it. Own it. If you see a good movie, you tell your friends. It's the same thing. You have this awesome shake that you love that makes you feel good. Tell your friends about it. Tell them why you love it. Tell them, what it's done for you, and post that on social media, or just talk about it with your friends. Talk about it when you're talking to people about challenge groups. Like you own it, like you love it. And because you do, there's a reason that you are here and you're doing this. The second vital behavior is to invite. And I like to think of that. Inviting is kind of a scary word. It's the hardest part of this business for me and for a lot of people, I think, because it's where we're putting ourselves out there. We feel like we're, cold calling people or selling people, and that's what makes it hairy and scary. But we have to remember that if we just call it conversations, sometimes when I make my list for the day, I just say 5 conversations. So if we think about that in that way, just start those conversations every day. And then, did you lose me for a second? Okay. So anyway, so we just start conversations. We don't have to even talk about Beachbody. It's just about building relationships. So we start conversations, and, you know, down the road, once you build that relationship with somebody or rekindle a relationship with an old friend, you can say, hey, I've been doing these challenge groups lately, and they are so awesome. I love them. They, you know, help me be accountable. They help me be consistent. And it gives me a reason to keep going. And I've really loved it. Would you like to join me on my next one starting next month? And that's how you do it. That's how you start those conversations, and you invite people to your challenge groups. Once or a couple times a month, I'll do a post that's join my challenge group. Here's what you get. Here's why. Here's how it's different this month. That kind of thing. So that's another thing that you can work on through the training. You can talk with me about how to set up those posts and work on that. So that's inviting. The next vital behavior is personal development, which is vital. It is like the biggest game changer for me. And that has to happen every day, at least 10 minutes a day. And whether it's a podcast or a YouTube video or a Audible book or a coach training, you have to find that motivation every single day. And if I don't, I may not notice the first day, but then the next day, because I got out of the habit, it just snowballs, and you dive down and you're like, why am I doing this anyway? But if you do stay consistent, that fire stays lit, and it just gets bigger and brighter. And we remember why we're doing this. It all goes back to, why did I become a coach? Why do I want to do this? Why am I passionate about what I'm doing? Why do I want to share it with other people? I really think for me, like, one of the biggest things is I want to inspire other people. There are people in my life that have inspired me, and I think, oh my gosh, if they can do it, I can do it. And have, like, there's been times where I've been like at my low, my rock bottom, and I've looked at those people that have shared their stories of when they've felt that way, and it's inspiring. And so that's what I want to do to other people. And Beachbody is just a vehicle for that. I want to give other people that hope that they can do something hard, that they have more ability and more to offer than they even realize. So it all goes back to that why. It all goes back to, why are we doing this? We have to be reminded of ourselves of that every single day. Because when we're talking to people and we're inviting them to our groups and we're telling them that they can make this change in their life that's positive and inspiring, we have to be inspired ourselves. We have to feed ourselves and fill our own bucket before we can help others. So one last thing I want to touch on. The last vital behavior is recognition. That's a new one that they've added. So we need to recognize our challengers and give them a shout out for doing awesome. Even recognizing your own accomplishments, I think, is part of that, and being proud of yourself and saying, hey, I was consistent this entire week in checking in my challenge group, and I was consistent with, not eating sugar or whatever. Set little goals for yourselves that you can accomplish and that you can talk about and be proud of yourself. So recognizing people and recognizing your challengers, recognizing your friends, your spouse for something nice they do, showing that gratitude. That's what recognition, I think, really should be called, is gratitude. Because we're grateful for this opportunity. We're grateful for those that inspire us along the way. We're grateful for other coaches, other challengers, other people, friends, family, those that support us. And so I like to think of recognition as gratitude. And if you think of it like that, it's, you don't have to say, oh, this person had a 20-pound weight loss. Just something simple that you're grateful for them in your life, I think, is a big thing. So that can help you when you're wondering, what do I post on social media? Post a gratitude or recognition. Recognize your husband for making the bed. Recognize a friend for sending you a nice text. Whatever it is, that not just shows people that you're grateful for them in your life. So one last thing about consistency, time management, all those things. This was in the leadership video that Summer talked about. She said, a lot of people say, well, I'll get started on that when I feel more motivation, or I will make it more of a priority when my spouse is more supportive, or I will, start working out when I'm less tired, or when I'm not sick anymore, when I have more time. Okay, so but she made this analogy that kind of hits you in the face a little bit. It's like saying, I'm going to put wood on this fire, but I'm going to wait until a flame starts, and then I'll put wood on that fire. I said that wrong to start with, but that's like saying, okay, I'm going to wait until I get a flame before I start fueling that fire and giving it wood. How are you ever going to get a flame if you don't put wood and fuel on that fire? So it goes back to being accountable, and it all starts with us, and we have to be better than we were yesterday in our own actions, and we have the control. We can't expect a flame to start without any fuel. And that's where the personal development and the being consistent with your workouts, that makes you feel good. It gives you good energy. It gives you natural endorphins and antidepressants, and it makes you happy. So you have that control. You get to make those choices. You get to make the choice of when you wake up in the morning, of what you do with your time, of what you say no to, and going back to those priorities, are those things that you're spending your time doing on your priority list? Do they coordinate with what you have in your priorities? Beachbody should not be number one. If it is, then you're in trouble. I feel like, you know what I mean? All these other things are going to go to the wayside. And I think we feel like we have to do that sometimes if we're like, oh, we got to hustle and make it work. But you will get more support from your spouse if you make them feel important, and if they understand your why also. You'll get more support from your kids if you give them the attention they need, and then you have that time to do what you need to do, and they understand your why too. And you will have more to give if you spend that time being grateful and doing personal development and all of those things. So we have the control to fuel our own fire, but we can't wait for the flame to start without adding fuel to that fire. We have to add the fuel to the fire and give it that ability to start a flame, or we'll never get anywhere. We'll just be spinning our wheels. And I think I've made that excuse a lot in my life, and just go, oh, I'll wait till I have more time, or I'll wait till, I have more money, or until I have more motivation, or until I feel like it. Well, a lot of that later turns into never. So we have to take those action steps to control our own actions and to enjoy doing it, and to really tell ourselves, like, that's where in my Miracle Morning Routine affirmations has come a long way. Just saying, I love working out. Something maybe you don't love doing, like getting up early, that's one of my affirmations. I love getting up early. Like telling ourselves that so we believe it, and so that we really have that good attitude. And once we start doing that, we do feel good. We feel so much better, and we enjoy what we're doing, and we love helping people. That can be one. We love talking to people. We love building those relationships and helping people make positive changes in their lives, and giving them the power to feel better. That's what it's all about. That's my big why. We have the ability to take control of our own emotions, our own feelings, our own actions that control our feelings. So much happens to us that we feel like is out of our control, and like people do things and we're like, oh my gosh, I get that, like, oh, why did I get divorced? Why did I marry that guy? Why did all these things happen? All these choices that he made that led up to that, and it just makes my life so bad. Well, we have that control to change our attitude, change our view, look at the things that are good, and build on that. So hopefully that made sense and helps with you guys. The 4 vital behaviors, I keep calling it 3 because it used to be 3, but the 4 vital behaviors, it's that simple. We complicate this business because we get in our own way and we overthink things, and we, doubt ourselves and our ability, and it's really simple. So we just have to have that belief in ourselves and believe that what we're doing is for a greater purpose, and that we're here to inspire and help people. And that's what it's all about. So thanks for watching. This will probably be mostly watched by recording. Corey, do you have anything that you want to say or add?
No, I think that sums it up pretty good. I was reading this article though last night, which is kind of funny, about going to bed early and rising early, and how you do your best thinking first thing in the morning, and like So I really think that, like you do with the Miracle Morning, I think that if you can figure out your own way to motivate yourself and get up early, and I know that I need to be better at that because I'm not a morning person, but that is one of my big goals, is to set my priorities, and that being one of them is waking up early and get my day started. Because I feel like when I get started early and then my kids wake up, I'm not as stressed and things go smoothly throughout the whole day because it's not that chaos in the morning of getting kids off to school. So, and I know just with personal development, if I don't do it, I have those doubts and those, oh, I'll do that later, or the things like that. So I think that's really important.
Yeah. And, back to the morning thing, like this week I've been sick and I've like tried to get up early and do it. And like, I haven't been consistent at it. And I totally feel a difference in, my lack of motivation. And like, I'm not like, I wake up and things are already like chaos. And that's like not the way I like to start my day. Like, it is not worth that extra 30 minutes. It doesn't even have to be like insanely early, just 30 minutes early. You don't have to do all of the Miracle Morning things, but just 30 minutes to just kind of like gather your thoughts, make a plan for your day, set your intentions, and visualize how you want your day going. And then once kids wake up and the chaos starts, you have that control. And that's just a choice. And I'm preaching to the choir here because I need to, you know what I mean? Like I'm not as consistent as I would like to be. I do have consistent days, but I'm not as consistent as I would like to be with that. And so, but I do know that when I do it, my day is so much better. My attitude is so much better. I'm nicer. I'm more patient. So anyway, but lots of exciting things. So put a comment if you watch this video. Thanks, Corey.
Yeah.
Bye.